All right, let's take you to Parliament now, where Deputy President Paul Mashatile is back in the National Assembly this morning for another question and answer session. He's expected to face questions ranging from land reform and restitution to his convening of the National Dialogue on Coalition Governments last month. We believe he's on the podium. Let's listen in.
Coordinate profiles and integrate service delivery, bringing about improvements through a range of measures designed to empower municipalities to execute projects in a manner that is consistent with the best practices and improve processes across the local government sphere, addressing resources, capacity, and skills constraint in the local government space, and finally, facilitating improvements in planning, coordination, executing, monitoring, and reporting on the delivery of projects. Honorable Speaker, we aim to create resilient, sustainable, and cohesive communities where municipalities serve as catalysts and enablers of development. I thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable S. Gwahobe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy President, it is common cause that problems that have engulfed our metro governments across the country have been due to decades of mismanagement, cadre deployment, a lack of maintenance of critical infrastructure, and the theft of public money. In fact, the governing party's 2021 manifesto, you promised that you would drastically improve the state of roads, critical infrastructure, and service delivery alongside local and provincial governments. But that was already a dishonest undertaking, Deputy President. The ANC has presided over these cities and towns for years and did not do any preemptive maintenance work. Instead, funds were looted. Our towns and cities are falling apart because of decades of neglect and corruption, to the point where a city like Johannesburg is now exploding and costing people's lives. Over 70 people tragically lost their lives in a hijacked building that caught fire in Johannesburg several weeks ago. And an entire street exploded in the city center due to the lack of critical infrastructure. You have been tasked with championing service delivery as the DP. Will you at least be honest with South Africans and apologize for the mismanagement and the theft at a local government that has left places like Johannesburg the mess that they are in today?
The Honorable the Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Kwahube, when the President appointed me as Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, amongst others, he asked me to visit various provinces where there are service delivery challenges, to be able to intervene and ensure that we can deal with those problems. So the issues you are raising about challenges, whether in Johannesburg and any of these areas, are problems that we are well aware of. And that's the reason I indicated earlier that I have already visited a number of areas in the country. In Gauteng, I've been to Mfuleni, where there were challenges of water and other challenges. Of course, the challenges in Joburg, some of them are much recent. Will be also going to Johannesburg to deal with those challenges. Yes, it is true that in some of our municipalities, the states of roads are not in good order, but a lot of work is happening. If you, for instance, look at the Northwest, those of you who may be following, the Premier there has been involved in what they call Tunsalerole. I don't know what it is in English. Tunsalerole. Now, what the Premier briefed me about is that they are closing all potholes in the Northwest. They are busy with that, dealing with potholes, closing potholes, engaging in various other service delivery challenges. So work is happening in these various municipalities. So it's not like there are challenges and the ANC is not doing anything. If you go to the Free State, I've been to Jagersfontein, a lot of work is now happening in that area. Deputy Minister Parkstow has been there 3 times to deal with issues there. So in short, Speaker, let me say to Honorable Wahube that the ANC is on the ground, is dealing with these issues. And in fact, where the challenges of service delivery has been because of councillors that are appointed in those areas, we do intervene to bring in new councillors that can do better work. So we are intervening, and I'm confident that we are going to improve service delivery on the ground. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.A. Hadebe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And if today you look supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you, Deputy President. Deputy President, your response highlights the need for all 3 spheres of government to comprehend and appreciate the importance of working together if we are to resolve the challenges facing local government. Honorable Deputy President, may you please indicate to the nation and some of these members in the House the negative consequences and the impact of one sphere of government refusing to collaborate and work together in an integrated manner. Secondly, please indicate to us whether or not our democratic government has measures in place to mitigate such a resistance and enforce intergovernmental relations, as we have seen in the recent past in the Texas strike in Cape Town and the illegal occupation of Central Line in Nyanga and Philippi. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Member, you will recall that one of the pieces of legislation that we have in place is the Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act. And that was to ensure precisely that we are able to work together, national, provincial, and local government. But also, when there are challenges on the ground, provinces have the responsibilities to intervene. They can use Section 139 to intervene. Like it happened, for instance, when there were challenges in Tshwane, MEC Maile invoked this section to be able to intervene there. There's also Section 154, which really is about providing support. So if there are challenges, then local governments fear, national government and provincial government are obligated to provide support so that the municipality can continue to provide service delivery. We are also using the DDM as a vehicle to coordinate these efforts. In fact, I must say, honorable members, that in all the provinces I've visited, the DDM was well received. As I indicated, the provinces where I've gone, I've not found any resistance. Of course, I still have to come to the Western Cape. I hope I will be well received as well. I will be well received. Oh, I'm so happy. They say I'm going to be well received in the Western Cape, because honorable members, it's important that we work together. finger pointing does not help. Unless somebody does not want to cooperate, then you can blame them for that. But where all of us are willing to work together, let's do so. Because when we coordinate, we pull resources together as we do in DDM, that benefit people on the ground. It's about service delivery, about improving the lives of the people on the ground. So yes, coordination is important, working together is important, and is provided for also in legislation. Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable Mkalipi or Honorable Manyi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deputy President, the entire country is a service delivery hotspot, not just one area, the entire country. Earlier this year, Mr. Ramaphosa indicated that 163 of the 257 municipalities, that's over 60%, are completely dysfunctional. If municipalities are the closest level of government to the people, they've been allowed to degenerate to this level of disaster. And those responsible for this mess are never prosecuted or held to account in any other ways. How else do you plan to fix this lack of service delivery to our people? Why has there been no follow-up on the findings and the recommendations of the Auditor General on all these municipalities over the years? And what exactly is it that you're planning to do to fix this mess?
Thank you, Honorable Manyi. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Manyi, as I said earlier, that we are already intervening. We are aware that 66 municipalities, as I said, were identified as dysfunctional, but already COGTA is intervening. We are supporting them, working with them. In the long run, we want to ensure that all the municipalities are properly run. I did say at some point when speaking on this matter that the ANC itself has now intervened in many of these areas, and when there are by-elections or new elections, they make sure that we are able to get the right people to be appointed in those areas. If it comes to mayors, for instance, you may be aware that all mayors of the ANC now are interviewed by the leadership. So we go through their CVs and we interview and appoint the best. When it comes to metros, those interviews are actually led by the president himself. And so we're not taking chances because we consider municipalities as very important. As you're saying, they are the first line of defense, closer to the people. So we are making sure that the leaders in those areas go through rigorous interviews. The speakers are being interviewed, the chief whips. And as a result, we're going to see great improvements in those areas. But also, national and provincial government must continue to support municipalities so that we don't leave them on their own, because some of them, the problems is not just leadership or poor governance, it's also lack of economic activity. There are municipalities in South Africa where there is no economic base. So we need to look at that. And in fact, at some point, we're thinking that you may even need to merge some of those so that we are able to give them some capacity to be able to have some economic base to generate revenue. But yes, Honorable Mani, we are intervening. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you, Deputy President, Honorable Deputy President. I've been informed that the request for the last supplementary question was not received. So we then proceed to question number 14, and that has been asked by the Honorable N.F. Chivambu to the Deputy President. The Honorable the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture, I have been proactively engaging with the Minister on various issues, including this one that Member Shibambu is raising. The issue of land claims is sensitive, and we treat it with the utmost urgency and care that it deserves. During a recent interaction with the Minister and members of the IMC, I was presented with a report that indicates that as of June the 30th this year, there are 5,407 outstanding old order claims rather than 6,600 as indicated by Member Shibambu. A discrepancy of almost about 1,100 that exists from the claim made. Honorable Shibambu may be unaware of the updated report, but there is some movement now that is taking place. The government has since adopted several interventions to support the acceleration of land reform programs. This includes, but is not limited to the following. The National Council of Provinces is currently considering the expropriation bill. Secondly, the Land Court Amendment Bill, which includes provision for communal land transfer, registration, title and appointment of land rights inquiry, has been sent to the President for assent. The bill aims to regulate the administration and use of communal land by communities within the framework of applicable laws, including spatial planning and land use management. Third, the revision of the Property Valuation Act to provide for precise scope of the Office of the Valuer General and methodology to determine a just and equitable compensation. Fourth, the development of an overarching integrated land administration policy framework that prioritizes documenting all land and legislation to underpin economic, social, institutional, and environmental sustainability. Fifth, identifying land needs within cities and towns to inform the land reform program, prioritizing land needs for human settlement, industry, economic, and urban agricultural development to change spatial patterns and enhance socioeconomic advancements. And lastly, the strategic acquisition, release, and allocation of land, which include the release of the remaining parcels of land for restitution purposes, and equally important, the post-settlement support required to ensure the successful usage and application of land that has been released. Honorable Speaker, the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture will continue to review the best plausible options to improve overall financing of the backlog, and particularly the backlog reduction strategy as introduced by the Commission. Also to accelerate the settlement of all order claims so that we can resolve this matter within a reasonably shorter period. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable N.F. Shivambu.
In his stead, Madam Speaker, Deputy President, it's common cause that the restitution program has really been a complete mess since inception. You've thus far spent 50 billion to settle some 76,000 claims since 1998. And half of this money went towards compensating white land owners. And a chunk of the other half went towards subsidizing these white farmers as strategic partners to the land restitution claimants. There are still over 100,000 land claims that are sealed until the finalization of the 1998 land claims. Land restitution has benefited white farmers more than it has land claimants. And most of these claimed farms are not being put into use because there is no post-settlement support for land claimants. Have you as government conducted a review of this program of land reform to assess its continued desirability? If so, what is the basis of your belief that this program of land reform is useful in your attempts to reclaim the land? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Mani, as I said earlier, that the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform has been revitalized. I chair that committee and we have already met more than once. And the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform, and the deputy are part of that committee. We are prioritizing this matter because indeed we have realized that it's costing a lot of money, taking too long. But we have realized that there are some challenges that we have to deal with. Let me indicate amongst them would be the question of overlapping rights in some instances. Sometimes the claims are very complex. They are competing claims. In some instances, land claimants do overcharge, or let me say they inflate the prices of land. So we have to contain with that because you are quite right that we have spent a lot of money already. But I looked at the report which was provided to the Interministerial Committee that in fact we've really made some progress because 83,000 claimants have been processed, but we still have these 5,000 that we need to conclude. And we are trying to make sure that we don't spend the kind of billions of rands that we have spent before. So we are going to look at these issues, look at the budgets, but in some instances, the delays because of also land invasions. In some areas, you have land invasions. And in some areas, landowners challenge the validity of claims. But I don't think it's a program that we should abandon. My view is that the Interministerial Committee should look at the defects, correct it, and make sure that we can complete it faster, but within reasonable budget. Because if we proceed in the manner in which we did, we estimated that it could cost us up to 172 billion rand over the next 30 years. We want to do it shorter, within reasonable budget. But of course, in some instances where you want to move fast, you can't because of some of the challenges I've indicated. But the Interministerial Committee is now seized with this matter. Thank you very much, Honorable Manyi will convey that to Honorable Shiba.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable B.T. Chwete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, with the elements of criminality and orchestrated delay tactics towards achieving land reform and restitution, mainly the by the ones seated on your left-hand side, all of them. What mechanism can be used?
Just read your question. Just read your question.
What mechanism can be used to intervene in order to rectify the injustice of the past? Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. You know, one of the big challenges as you deal with issues of land redistribution and redistribution is also a problem of crime and corruption that is involved. So what the President has done, presented to Cabinet, and we approved a national anti-corruption strategy. And also the SIU is also investigating those matters. But in order to speed up these issues of land restitution, we need to get the Commission to work closely with the Office of the Valuer General to make sure that they can deal with these matters. It's really to improve the turnaround strategy. You know, there are a number of things that they look at when they deal with the turnaround strategy, and we want to improve those issues. The Interministerial Committee on Land Reform, Agriculture and Land Reform, is now working very closely with these institutions to make sure that we can then complete this process faster and properly. So we are doing that, Honorable Member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable W.M. Thring.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, during the apartheid era, family was forcibly removed off their farm in Weza between Harding and Coxted in KwaZulu-Natal. The farm was leased out to a forest plantation farmer who paid rental to government over the years. In 1998, a land claim was made by the family with all the necessary documentation submitted. The man who was forced off the farm as a child with his parents was excited that finally justice would be done and reparations made. Months turned into years and years to decades, and no land was returned or reparations received. And the man died in 2010. That man was my spiritual mentor and senior pastor. Honorable Deputy President, noting that these inordinate delays create a second injustice, what action will you take, and by when, to bring government officials responsible for delays and or alleged fraud, as mentioned in the Motlanthe High Panel on Land, to assist the thousands of families and people groups to receive what is rightfully theirs? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Thring. The Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Thrill, the case you are citing obviously affects many other families out there. We are very sympathetic to your family and everybody out there, because you are quite right. This process should have moved faster. But as I said earlier, we have now identified where the challenges are, and we're going to intervene. It's not going to be easy because, as I said, if you look at some of the reasons why we delay, it's sometimes out of government's hand, but in the interministerial committee, we are preoccupied with that to ensure that we can bring justice to people who were forcibly removed from their land, who have now put claims to be able to receive their land. So what I will do, because it's a very critical matter, and the country will keep Parliament informed about where we are, how we're moving, what are the problems that we are facing. But we are definitely aware of the problems that the families are facing, because people get old and they pass on before they can receive their land. So I guess the commitment I'm making is that we're going to try very hard to move fast so that we can bring justice to people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honorable T.M. Mpapama.
Mpapama. Thank you very much. The Restitution of Land Rights Act 22 of 1994 has a duty to establish a Commission on Restitution of Land Rights, which is seen as such in law. Deputy President, I must say your interministerial meeting is achieving nothing. You have failed the 5,403 Black claimants who have been waiting for decades to get their land back. Had the Commission been conducting its work as an independent entity, no one would have had to wait for decades to have their claim finalized. Don't you think that it is high time, Deputy President, that you apologize to the families whose members have died waiting in vain for restitution due to your government's incompetence and gross negligence? And how are you holding the minister and her officials to account?
All right, those are live visuals from Parliament where Deputy President Paul Mashatile is fielding questions from MPs. Among the questions have been the general state of municipalities, as you would have heard him say that he's committing that more will be done to address issues within municipalities, even reminding parliamentarians that the ANC now embarks on a very rigorous recruitment process for their deployees in municipalities, even stating that President Cyril Ramaphosa sometimes sits on interviews for mayors. And then on land reform, you would have seen that EFF's Mzwanele Manyu posed a very pertinent question around the dismal pace of land reform, giving figures that 50 billion has been spent to roughly 76 claimants thus far, with 100,000 claims still to be processed. Mashatile, you would have heard, conceding there in his response that it has been a very costly program, but government is now seized with that matter. More news on the other side of this break. Do stay with us.